Ah,
Oh, good. Yay.
yay.
Hi.
Well done.
Hi, guys.
Well done. Okay, let's jump into it. We kept people waiting long enough. Good evening, girls.
Yes.
I was just telling Liba that it's so bashert that we're having this conversation right now because tomorrow, and I'm reading your messages, by the way, and you guys can put questions in the question box, and maybe we can do that at the end. Tomorrow, I'm actually starting tomorrow's the first day of the rest of my life. Let's put it that way. Um, I am. Are you hearing me, Liba? The connection's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you.
So I'm starting. Yeah, I'm starting to work with a professional trainer and nutritionist here in Israel, and this is the first time in my life that I'm hiring someone to help me reach my goals in that way, to just give me that full focused attention and, help me get back into control in areas of my life that I'm struggling with. And it's not something I really talk about much on social media because it has no shaykhus to my music or to my career. But what's so interesting to me is that out of all the things that are easy for me, and so many things do come naturally to me, finding motivation to reach some of my goals is really, really hard for me. And maintaining those habits and committing to them. And I start off with such a bang and I'm in it to win it. And then things fizzle out. And then the voices in my head start, distracting me. And then I feel discouraged. And then I start the whole self-loathing thing. Why can't I pull this off? Why can't I do it? Why is it so hard for me? Why is it so easy for my sister? Why did Hashem give me such a challenge that clearly I can't overcome? And even, as far as tomorrow goes, the nutritionist sent me like all the food guidelines and the workout routines. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, how, Hashem help me. So you two are going to help me and everyone watching understand what it takes to really go from, I want to be great, to being great. Because some people think that it's just a power lunge to the top, or a power, it's a lift off. You muster the energy and you shoot up to the top. When anyone who, has struggled in their life knows that it's so much deeper and so much more psychological and emotional than just physical. Yeah. Right. So let me introduce you both and then we'll give you guys the floor.
I'm like, but I'm controlling myself.
I know, we'll get to everybody. I'm not going to talk the whole night. The floor will be yours. Okay, so I just prepared a couple of notes because I wanted to prepare you both, introduce you both properly. Okay, Liba, you are known as Spirit Fit Mama. You're living in Far Rockaway. You just, this year you competed.
Live in Arizona.
Oh, you're in Arizona now?
Yeah, I live in Arizona.
You have to update your website or your Instagram. Somewhere says Far Rockaway.
Well, I'm from Far Rockaway. I don't even know it says that.
Okay. You recently competed in American Ninja Warrior. It aired this week. Everyone was talking about it. It's very exciting. I want to hear more about that. You struggled with balancing your athletic goals with your Yiddishkeit as far as covering your hair and Sanua goes. It's not always so compatible in professional athletic sports in the secular world. But you are a fitness expert. You have a beautiful website, which I checked out. You do fitness, nutrition, mindset coaching, support. You work with 4 other coaches. You have 4 children. You are a advocate for children with alopecia. Your daughter's, she's bald, and you guys are freaking awesome with the way that you embrace it and make her into such a star, which she is. Like, it's just so refreshing to see. It's just like, beyond. Every time I see it, I'm like, if only my children, that don't have this particular struggle would be, if I could boost them the way you do, Hashem should help me. So I want to hear your story, and we have a lot to get to. Devorah, you are a motivational speaker. You were in my house like a year ago?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. As I was making this coffee, I was remembering the coffee you made me.
Yes. You are full of energy. You are full of light. You love Hashem. You love spirituality. You love to teach. You love the Torah. And you really do believe that if you live with meaning and with introspection, and when you connect to the Torah and Hashem's messages, you really can achieve greatness. but you also are very clear that you can't achieve it you don't have to see it to achieve it. You have to want it enough and believe that you could acquire it, and then you'll get it. In other words, you don't need the $1 million. You can't have the $1 million in front of you and say, oh, that's going to make me a millionaire. No. Knowing that you could achieve it is what's going to make you that millionaire. So it's very much a mindset. So let's start with you, Devorah, and then we'll give it to Liba, and we'll go back and forth. How do we prepare ourselves when we're about to take on any journey in our lives that involves a lot of self-work and a lot of motivation and a lot of preparation and a lot of, positive personal conversations? Where do we start? And is it possible to achieve great things just with enough, just with our own kayach, just with our own personal strength?
So, wow, that's a good question. It's a loaded question, Chanale. Okay.
I come out guns blazing.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so let's just, if you're going to come out shooting, I'm going to come out shooting back.
Okay.
The bottom line of it all is like what you're about to do. You're about to take this, like tomorrow's going to be the first day of your life, which means that this is a decision that you made. You have a goal. You have a clear goal of where you want to be, what you want to look like, and how you want to feel. Now, what you need to take into consideration, and this is for everyone to realize, is that the pain that you're going to experience on your journey, because you will experience pain. There will be moments where you're going to break, where you're going to feel like you just want to give in and throw in the towel. You can't do this. It's bigger than you. You've never done this before. It's too much. That those moments of pain are your moments, those struggles are your moments that are victory. Meaning it's specifically when you hit those points, when you hit the low points of I can't and it's too much and what was I even thinking and how am I even going to do this and who am I even kidding? Like I don't even have this in me, and a lot of women have this going on in them all the time. It starts off with like a bang and like I'm going to do this, and we buy all the accessories that we need for the gym, and then we do all of and then we start, and then somewhere along the line the negative voices start to talk to us and tell us,
Liba, you're sitting here going like this, and I'm thinking, but 1 second, it's really hard for people to believe that you struggle to get to where you are, because from the outside you're accomplished, you're thin, your videos on social media show you doing tremendous athletic feats. You are a success. So where is that struggle? Like we never really see it. Like, and you're agreeing like, yes. Like,
Well, to say on that is like, yeah. So first of all, one of my pet peeves is people like thinking that it's easy, that I don't have problems, that I don't have struggles. It's like literally, it's like if someone says that to me, like it hurts me. Meaning like it's like no. Absolutely not. And what you just said is important, because people will say to me, hey, you were always fit. You were always thin. How could you understand what it feels like to struggle? How could you help people who struggle with this? So first of all, some people's struggles are obvious and some people's struggles are not as obvious, right? Just because you're heavy doesn't mean you struggle more than someone that's not, right? I struggled tremendously with my body image, with food, like in such a deep, intense, painful way, right? So the outside is just meaning it manifests differently. For somebody, it might manifest as being overweight. For somebody might manifest as over exercising, right? It doesn't really matter what, right? So it's coming from the core similar place, right? So that's why I can understand everyone, like all the different types of struggles in that area, because meaning I've struggled in the same way similarly, but it just manifested differently. Right. Understand? So
you have warm regards from Beatty, who WhatsApped me earlier. She's like, I'm joining the live tonight. I'm going to surprise Liba. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. And then she's like, oh, it's 12:30. Forget it.
Right. Yeah.
I have to get up. Yeah. She's like, I have to get up and run. Now, she's also a great example of someone who is constantly pushing herself, breaking herself, and challenged with a lifestyle that's not necessarily conducive to professional,
But and this is something I shared, right? Because if you look a little deeper, not just on the surface of my pictures and actually read the posts, I was afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. I was pretty much scared of almost every single thing I did in ninja. So petrified that it paralyzes me. That's how scared I am and was. Meaning, but I do things anyways because I know that that's how I'm going to grow. And I don't expect myself to not be afraid, right? I look at fear and I say, oh, I feel fear. What is this fear? And you know what? It's not physical fear. It's always emotional. Why? Why was I scared of ninja? Because I can't control the outcome. And I like to be in control. So if I can't control the outcome, I'm going to be scared. But if I know what's going to happen, I'll be less scared. And I had to break through that fear and let go of control emotionally so that I could accomplish, let's say, something physical. But it's all emotional. It's all internal, you know, and like what Devorah was saying, like, if you're expecting the journey to be easy, you're not going to be successful, right? Because you will hit failure and you look for it. Because every single time you feel, you're going to say, what happened? Why did it happen? What could I learn from it? What do I want to do differently? Not beat myself up, not look down on myself, right? Say like, this is obviously something that I need, you know, that I want to learn from. And we do the opposite, usually, especially with health. And that is really what the diet world is, right? It's like you're really set up for a failure and you fail so many times that you don't trust yourself anymore to be successful. So as soon as you fail, you're like, see, you basically prove yourself wrong every single time because it's not really set up for success by taking somebody's life and saying, do all these things. Change takes baby steps. So if you want to really change, you change one habit. Until,
I want
you know,
specifics, and I want you to give the audience some practical tips on how they could learn from your achievements, you know, and apply them to their own lives. Devorah, you're obviously not a professional athlete.
No.
Only because
she's a professional spiritual leader, you know.
Right, but you are you speak to many women, and the little conversation that the short conversation that I had with you, I see that you're very goal oriented. You want to change the world. Like, your course is called Breakthrough. You have a website where you have a course called Breakthrough, which I would love to join, by the way, the next one, God willing. And you really help women who feel like they're at a wall. Like, here's the wall, and I can't get over the other side because it's too hard to climb, and I can't get through it, and I can't see the side. So how am I going to get around it? And you're like, okay, let's identify where you're going, and we're going to figure out how to get you there. Whether it's through the wall, whether we fly you on an airplane, whether we airlift you, we'll figure it out. But let's get there together. So give us some insight on how we can potentially set up very big goals and then slowly, you know, get there, even when it seems impossible.
Okay, so I want to just make a very clear, make it very, very clear, give a structure to this conversation a little bit, because these conversations happen all the time. You fail, that's part of the win, that's part of the victory. You have to fail, that's all part of your thing. I want to take a little bit of a Taurus perspective on this whole idea, okay? Everything boils down to this. Our life is one long journey. On the journey, we're going to experience, and you are going to experience, pain, addiction, difficulty, struggle. That's all part of the thing. And that's all part of on your journey. You're walking on your path, and all of a sudden this shows up, and that friend stabs you in the back, and this person really is just, you know, you didn't expect that from them, or you get divorced, or you lose all your money, or someone has a miscarriage, or whatever the pain, the problem, the difficulty is. It's very easy in a way to use this metaphor of Liba, the ninja warrior, where she looks fear in the eye, and it's so clear, and she struggles, and she goes, and she falls, and she breaks her arms, and she does all, and she's still at it. Right? So that's an awesome metaphor for what life is about. Rabbi Nachman brings this down from many, many different sources, but I'll just say Rabbi Nachman for a minute. He says like this: don't expect for a second not to meet them along the path, because the path is you're going to face darkness on your path. And there are dark energies on your way, and these dark energies are going to show up in many different forces, in many different ways. Just like the Jewish people came out of Egypt, they finally came out of Egypt, and the first force they met was Amalek. The first force they met was doubt, was the ones that they made them feel, they cooled them down. They were on fire, and then they made them feel like, wait, am I strong enough? Am I brave enough? Is it really, can I really do this? The Jewish people started feeling tired and weak, and I can't, it's too much for me. This is the equation of life. You'll fall, you'll win, you'll fall, you'll win. And that's the equation of life. Now, my whole breakthrough thing happened after I got divorced. And after I got divorced, I fell into this thing where no class and no book and no rabbi and no speech and nothing lifted me up. I was like depressed, in the gutter,
Really?
sleeping on the floor, moved back into my parents' house, lost everything I had, and now had to start over with 2 babies in diapers.
So you,
with no money.
1 second. So you have really experienced helplessness and hopelessness. Like you've been there. You're laughing. You're like, are you kidding? We're best friends.
BFFs. I realized that I'm not going to fight them. I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting when I'm down, when it's difficult, when I'm crying, when the struggle is real. I'm not fighting it. Just like Rabbi Nachman says, don't fight them because they're stronger than you. There is a way to break through, though. And I basically clawed my way up out of this depression for my children's sake and for my life. And breakthrough was born because I went on a rampage looking for techniques of not how to avoid falling apart, not how to avoid the pain and the struggle, but how to win with it, like go with it in life. I realized that it's always going to be me.
I just want to ask Liba, because again, you're doing this thing where you're like, I totally relate. Have you been in a place where you've been completely helpless and hopeless, or have your challenges been different, let's say? Or
yes, I very much, yes, I very much
as
have.
a parent, even as a parent, not
Yes.
related to your career. There's so many moments when you're like, Hashem, help.
Yeah, so it's like you said before, on the outside, there are things I very much understand what you're sharing. It's not stuff that I'm going to be public about, but I know deep pain, and exactly what you're saying is what I always say is like, you said no rabbi, no therapist, right? It's like we have a certain strength inside of ourselves, but most of us don't ever access it, and God gave it to us. Like it's in us, right? It's and I tell it to all of our clients. I'm like, we search outside of ourselves for the answers to everything, right? And we do need support, 100%. But while we're getting support, we have to also know that we're the only ones that can really find it, right? We need to grab onto that support. We need to stop blaming, right? It's inside of ourselves, and obviously it's connected to any journey, like a health journey, because it's emotional. It's nothing to do with the food. It's nothing to do with anything, right? It's only has to do with our own emotional journey, and we don't put emphasis on that enough when we focus on that thing and that plan and that this. If we literally stop caring about any of that stuff and we go inside of ourselves and really, obviously with support, it's in there. Like what you said, it was right. Like that strength is within ourselves, and we need to believe that and know that.
But back to you, Devorah. When you're depressed and when you really feel like you got the short end of the stick, and like, maybe Hashem is like, pushing you to a breaking point, like when people get divorced and are single moms or have children with deep challenges or children who are in pain or suffer, how do you, it's not so simple to be like, I have the strength from within. I don't have the strength. I'm very heavy today. I physically don't have the strength to exercise. I have too much physical weight. I'm just giving an analogy. I have too much physical weight on me to go do an aerobics class. Like everything is hurting. It's hard. So how do we like, it's mayach shalit al halev. Our brains have to control our emotions here. And we have to say, okay, you're heavy today, but the goal is to burn some of that fat away so that tomorrow this will be a little easier. Like you really have to be disciplined. And I think that's something that people overlook. Like it's not an epiphany. It is a lot of discipline, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow the rules. I'm going to, I'm going to commit to this. And then tomorrow will be easier. And then at some point it will be much easier. Will it ever be completely easy? No. But like, where do we go from that point when we're like, I can't even get off the couch?
So here's the tricks. The tricks are like this. Never go with anything head on, because if you feel like you cannot physically go on a walk, okay, the example that you just gave, what I do when I feel like I physically cannot, or spiritually, emotionally, mentally cannot do this thing, what I do is I understand that I have, and this is Kabbalah, this is really what's going on behind the matrix. There's a darkness. There's a dark energy, because everything boils down to dark and light. Light are the things that you're able to do in your life. Giving tzedakah adds more light. Light is energy. Light is life. Gives you energy. When you help someone, when you give someone a kind word, it gives you back immediately and a feeling of, oh, I feel a little bit better. Somehow that's how it works. When a person is involved with darkness, for example, gossip, binging, doing things that are self-destructive, addiction, and just falling into that place constantly, then they're feeling the darkness of the energies that they're involved in. Now, the Kabbalah makes it very clear. If you're feeling this dark energy around you that you can't move, and it's difficult for you in your life, you don't necessarily have to face your thing that you need to do because I need to burn the calories right now, so I need to go on a walk. You're feeling it. It's very hard. It's so hard to get out of that depression, out of that thing. But do something right now that will add light to your life. Take a bite from that apple that will light, even if it has nothing to do with your burning the weight. Just anything that will add light to your bank account. And that's what you have to do. You got to get full now on light, even if it has nothing to do with that, because you have to pick your energy up. It all boils down to the energy that we have. When we are in a dark energy, when we have a hard energy, when we have a low energy, we have to know these energies are real. The Maharsha says, he makes it very clear, in the way that a person go, in that way he's escorted. And he says that who escorts the person? Who are these escorts that are escorting you in the way you want to go? And he says that these are actual energetic beings that take a person, like energetic beings, okay, that take a person in the way he wants to go. So he says, like, these energies are born from the actions and the thoughts and the words that we say. If I say to myself, I'm starting a diet tomorrow and I have no energy and it's so much and it's so big, I'm making it heavier. My energy gets heavier without even realizing I'm getting heavier. I'm starting to doubt myself. I'm starting to put a suffix, a malik, into all of the things that I want to do. I'm making myself ayef, ve'agea. I'm making myself tired and weak. I have to know that my words build me. They give me that energy, my actions. So if you're in a dark place and you feel like there's judgment on you, things are not working, you're having shalom bayis problems, you're having children problems, go and do a chesed for someone that you owe nothing to. You owe nothing to. The Torah tells us, Kabbalah tells us, when you do something chesed shalom for someone that you owe nothing to, that gives you a sick amount of light. And that's energy. That's energy.
That's actually very, very powerful and also fairly simple, because you don't even have to get up from the couch to call your elderly neighbor and be like, listen, how are you? Can I get you something or whatever? But that could give you enough joy and, like you say, emotional light that suddenly you could just physically feel lighter. Like, okay, maybe I should go for a walk. I'm lucky that I could walk. I'm lucky that I'm not a senior citizen. You know what I mean? Like, it really triggers like a ripple effect. So
Yeah.
when you're at those moments where you need that kind of physical breakthrough, when you need to push a little harder, when you feel like, okay, I've maxed out, right? What are some of the mantras, or what is some of the conversation taking place in your head when your limbs are burning, when your back is, when you really feel like you might not be physically able to go another mile, go another. So where do you actually derive that strength from? Because you're pushing yourself at maximum, but sometimes you need to go even more.
Right.
Because when you're a parent, sometimes you're an amazing mother. You have a great day with your kids. You gave 1,000,000%, and then someone starts vomiting at 10 p.m. and you're like, I have nothing left. I'm all mothered out. But you can't stop. You're gonna have to find some resource. You're gonna have to find some resources. So how do you do that?
So I have a lot to say about what you guys were talking about before, but I'll go along with your question. So for myself personally, it's like everybody has a belief of themselves, right? Some people say, I'm so lazy. When did they decide they're so lazy, right? When did they start believing that, right? We all have like a certain way, we believe that we are, right? So first of all, there's that whole thing of how do you change that belief? Because it's 100% possible, right? Because if you're going to believe that about yourself, right, that's how you're going to behave, right? Similar, like the darkness, all that stuff. But if you believe you're a certain way, that's how you show up for yourself also. So my belief about myself is I don't give up. Like, that's my belief. Like, it's my truth. It's like who I am, right? I'm short. I don't give up. That's how, so when I do something, right, I will practice a skill 150 times when somebody would give up on the 50th time. Not because I'm better than them at it, because I don't give up. And I know without a doubt that one day I will get it. So in any area of my life, right? And you can use that if you believe that you're somebody who never gives up, that means, and that's how I always talk to my clients, if you don't give up, if you stay in the game, one day you will get it. One day it will become clear. One day it will be easy. One day you won't feel sad because you didn't give up, because you believe that you will get it one day. That doesn't mean the journey's easy. That doesn't mean you know when, right? And so for me, that's when I'm doing something that's so hard, right? And I feel like, again, I'm going to do it again and again, and it's embarrassing, and I'm falling in front of everybody. But I know but it doesn't matter, because I know I'm going to get it one day. And I'm also someone who doesn't, like, I do hard things, right? I also believe that. So I don't think it's going to be easy. And your mind, your talk is I will lift something heavy, and if I feel fear and I'm like, oh no, I can't do it, I won't be able to do it physically. Absolutely impossible. And then I'll like hype myself up and be like, yeah, like pump myself up inside my head, and all of a sudden I do it. And literally something that was physically impossible becomes physically possible. So because of a mental shift. So the power that's that. So if we change our internal dialogue, right, that means the world is yours, right? Right? We believe Hashem will give us strength, right? We believe it, we live it, we breathe it, right? Whatever darkness we're going through, it's going to happen, right? Now, with what you were talking about before, right? Like, Devorah, what you guys were talking about before, it's the discipline part, right? We do things, we're never going to be motivated all the time, right? So if we're telling ourselves, like, I'm not in the mood of this, and imagine you do things based on only your moods, right? So the way that I help people a lot of times is like, you said, you're like, tomorrow will be easier, but that's not a way of loving yourself, right? A way of loving yourself, like, everything needs to come from love. If you're doing it in like punishment or like scaring yourself, like, you better do this or else, right? Or any of those types of stuff, it will never ever last, because you know what? One day you'll be like, I don't care anymore. It's too much. I can't, right? But if you're learning to truly love yourself, your decisions are going to be from that place. So yes, I don't want to do it. Yes, I'm so tired. I don't want to, but I want to show up for myself, right? Because that's the way of me taking care of myself. I love myself so much that I deserve to feel good all the time. And you do it from that place, that's what's going to keep you going. Because you know what? You won't wake up in 3 weeks and say, you know what, today, who cares about loving myself? Who cares about being a good mother? You know what? I don't care anymore. You're not going to not care anymore, you know?
So what I'm hearing is that when you say to yourself, I am Liba and I fight till I win. I am Liba and I don't give up. I was watching on Netflix tonight. It just came out. Shimon Peres's, there's a Netflix biography about Shimon Peres. He was the president of Israel and, part of the creation of the country. And they had to interview President Bush and President Obama and President Clinton, and they all knew him. And they all said the same thing about him. He would always say, maybe next time I'll win, because they would be like, why do you keep fighting? Like, you're not winning these battles. You're not making peace in the Middle East. There's still so much discord and struggle in your country. Why do you keep fighting? And he's like, because maybe next time I'll win. And this was something his son said that he used to say when they were children, maybe next time I'll win. So that's very much like the voice that has to be, you're repeating in your head. But can you give us an example, Devorah, where you where, let's say, I understand that no matter what we're doing, it's an emotional struggle, and you have to be in the mental capacity, because like you said, you cannot achieve your goal if you don't believe you could do it. And that's something that you say all the time, Devorah, that you cannot become anything unless you truly believe that you deserve to be that thing, and that it is going to come your way, and that Hashem will send it to you. So help us connect the desire and the belief and the goal. Like, how do we consistently make sure that we're,
Okay. So I am the queen of, I'm going to say this so publicly and I don't care. I am the queen of not really believing anything that I say. Okay? Which means I sit here, if I would turn the camera around, you would see a whole library. I sit here, I learn, I prepare, I teach, and then this deep voice comes up inside of me and says, come on, Yara, come on. You're not going to be able, like, it's not, you can't do what you're teaching. Like I teach Shmir Salashon, right? And it's like insane amounts of halachos, of what to say, all these things. I'm like,
Right.
I can't really keep all these halachos. But what I know, and this is the only thing I know, is that brainwashing myself, and I can show you my wall. I just write all over my walls in my room. When I brainwash myself, and I tell myself, I'm just gonna fake it till I make it. I'm gonna fake it till I make it. I'm gonna fake it till I make it. I'm gonna see it in my mind's eye, even if I don't believe it. That's gonna necessarily happen for me. I don't necessarily believe, okay, I want to believe, but I don't necessarily believe I'm going to be under the chuppah this year. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll, be, I don't know. But what I tell myself over and over and over again, I am getting married, and I am going to be crazy in love, and I'm going to do all the things that I want to taste and feel in my life. Do I believe it right now? No. And the things that I believe, mamish believe, those are the things that I've taken and I've made them into a belief system of mine. How do I do that? When you train your thoughts long enough, they turn into a belief system.
Are you
And
a
that's how
fan
it
of
works.
journaling? Are you guys a fan of journaling? Liba, do you journal?
Yes, I journal. My clients, like our program is, we have tons of journaling and all that stuff. Yeah, self-talk and all that work, wiring your mind.
There's a lot of repetition. And you take people that are successful people, they do a lot of repetition. People that are successful just speak positively to themselves, even if the belief is outside of themselves right now. I see it as a goal. I don't necessarily believe that I can do it, but I kind of say it over and over and over and over again to myself, and that's what gives me that's what allows me to get there in my life.
I'll give you, not everyone learns as much Torah as you do, and not everybody is, does as much sport as you do and athleticism as you do. Some people do music, and I'll give you an example. In my life, a few years ago, I was like, I want to learn how to play piano. Musical you guys are, but the piano here, it has 12 keys, and you have to learn each key and all the chords in each key, and you have to learn how to play them properly and how to play the scales and all the, different variations of the chords. And it's a really long process, and people, they hire teachers and they study music professionally until they get it right. But I was like, no, I'm going to go to YouTube University and I'm going to watch enough videos that I learn this. I have enough pre-existing skill that I could get this, to make this happen. I practiced for 5 hours a day. Like, I was obsessed. I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I would do the same scales over and over. And they used to say, there's muscle memory. So at some point, certain things just click in. And if you keep doing the routine, it becomes automatic. But you have to be disciplined and you have to do it over and over. And you can't repeat mistakes. When you make a mistake, you right away have to go back and fix that, because you don't want to ingrain a mistake. And every single time I got to a point where I was like, I cannot do this. I'm fumbling again. It's just, I'm not getting it. The next day, things got a little easier. It's like every time I got to the point that I wanted to give up, the next day, all my work started to kick into effect. So it's very interesting. I think it's almost like a thing that Hashem puts into us. Like, when you get to that point where you push yourself so hard that your fingers are aching, and that your eyes are burning, and that you're whatever, that's when you'll see that improvement. That's when you'll jump to the next level. So those are not signs of failure, like you said. Those are signs that it's working.
Yes. It's like you come here, you fall here, and then you can come back up here. You don't just go back to where you were. You had to use a lot more strength to come back, or to push through that hard point. So, And
don't be afraid of the pain. That's the thing. People get really, really afraid of the pain. Like, oh no, it hurts now. Now I can't eat that. Like, I want to eat that. Like, it's like it's staring at me. I want it. Or like, now, and I took on myself to, I don't know, to pray every day or to help someone out, and now I don't feel like it, and it's like painful, right? And the pain is an indication that you're actually growing. It's actually working.
Right.
That's the indication that's happening.
That's a good example also with tefillah, because tefillah could be very challenging for people. I know for me, reading Hebrew is not a challenge, and I have plenty of time. It's not that. For me, it's just making a commitment and not suddenly wanting to do something else instead, because I'm like there's a million things I want to do with my time, and standing by the window and reading from a book for an hour, it really you know, I have to get into a good headspace. I have to have kavana. I have to want to be there. I have to connect. It's not so simple. It's not so easy. Some people love it, and some people have a harder time. But you know, the example is when you, let's say with a parent, right? Let's say you never embrace your dad, right? And then something happens, and let's say your father has to sit shiva, and you want to embrace him, but it's so awkward. So the reason that, let's say, I'll make an effort to every time I see my dad is to give him a hug, is so that, God forbid, when he really needs a hug, I should feel comfortable embracing him, and he should feel comfortable embracing me. So you might so the same thing with all our daily habits. Like sometimes it feels like routine. Like, again, I'm doing the squat, or again, I'm journaling, and I'm saying the same thing over and over. But when it's time to put that into action, you will be prepared from all, like you said, from all the repetition, from all the routine, from all the consistency.
Right.
You can't expect it to just show up when you need it. Cameras rolling, go perform. You know, life is difficult today, go shine. It has to be on those days when you're like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this again? Who cares about the scales? Those are the moments that you're putting in the work for later, when you actually need the strength. Not every day is a competition. Some days are just
Right. The boring breeds success. It's a very popular saying in business also. Boring breeds millionaires, right? Boring breeds success. We're always looking for something new and flashy all the time, right? That's why the diet industry changes its ideas every day. Why do we need, if there was a right way, there wouldn't be 100 million, meaning there would for some things, but like, people want something flashy, it's not working, so, oh, there's something new, oh, right? Do the same thing again and again. It doesn't matter if it's the perfect, smartest, greatest thing. If you do the same thing again and again, you will be successful, right? And yes, it's right. I think there's the Tov Lahodos, that whole thing, because when it's one time you're thrown off your regular thing, your schedule changes. Something either really great happens or really hard happens, right? That throw you off your regular routine. You know what? You've done it long enough. It's so boring already that you have no doubt. You trust yourself. You have a week off, it's fine. You go totally off your whatever, right? You don't practice your piano, you don't work out, you don't eat well. It doesn't matter, because you know how to do it. You just go right back when you're through that time. So it's like, if you're bored, great. It doesn't need to be exciting every day, you know?
All right. It's not magic every day. It's not magical every day. It's not Disney World every day. Most days, it's routine and discipline and consistency. It's as simple as flossing your teeth. Every time I go to the dentist and he's like, are you flossing? I'm like, oh, we still have to do that? He's like, yes, for the rest of your life, you have to floss. It's never going to be a style. You're never going to have to stop, right? And it's such a simple, small thing, but it prevents all the cavities. It literally prevents all your cavities. So, you know, I think it's extremely important, and this is what I'm going to take away for sure tonight. I think it's extremely important to remember that it's not always glamorous, and it's not always exciting, and it's not always magical. But when you know and you've witnessed your power when it's time to shine, you'll know the next day, when it's just a regular day, how worthwhile those little habits are, how important it is to commit and to stay committed and to believe in yourself and to believe that you earn it, and to tell yourself, I am a winner. And winners do things that are boring. Winners work hard and nobody knows about it. Winners are the ones getting up at 5 a.m. to do the squats, or preparing courses for hours, or learning, or studying, or engaging, or playing piano, or whatever it is. Those are the people behind the scenes, like you said, who are the most successful. It's not glamorous, but it's very rewarding.
And I just want to make a final point here on this thing, okay? That it really is something that everyone needs to walk away with, because we're human beings. And human beings, as a human being, you're gonna have a lot of self-negating thoughts and self-destructive patterns and things that you want to do that you really, really want to escape from your life. So you'll use different things to tell you, oh, I'm not, instead of praying, I'll just, go do this thing, or I'll hang out with this friend because she needs me, or distractions, or our phone, or, I have to go to the cleaners, or whatever distraction to take me away from my goal, because really I'll fill up my time with things that will distract me, the things that are important, things that make me feel like, oh, I did something, I can check it off my to-do list, right? But check with yourself, look at yourself. Are you running away from where you from investing in yourself, from investing in the person that you're going to become, because you're scared of the journey, you're scared of how hard it's going to be, you're scared of the failure, you're scared of all the things that you're going to have to encounter on the way.
You can't fail if you don't start.
So you're afraid, so you use all these different distractions to keep you occupied in the moment. But notice that you are your biggest investment, and keep that in mind. You're your biggest investment. So even if you fall and break a limb, at least you're in the game and you're not sitting on the sidelines. At least you're actually being your active participant, as opposed to being everyone else's help and guide and whatever, and seeing them succeed, and you're just scared to move, kind of thing.
And we're human. We aspire to be great because we're part of Hashem. So we pull upwards, you know, even if when we think to ourselves, whatever, I'll be ordinary. Like, we can't be ordinary. We're never going to be ordinary. We're Jewish people. We have souls. The human experience is to be extraordinary because Hashem created us in the image of God. So just to ignore the niggling feeling like, I want to accomplish more, I want to push myself harder, I can do better. You can't get away with that anyways. Like, you have to succeed. So you might as well, you know, do it the right way and not have to repeat the same mistakes over and over. Liba, just tell us a little bit, what is what's next for you? Like, I don't know so much about your professional, you know, goals and so on. You were on this show. You made a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. It was a very, we don't even know half of it because we didn't experience it like you do. But I'm sure, you know, you experienced something that opened your eyes to a lot of different things and gave you a lot of food for thought, let's say.
Right.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from going out into the secular world and doing something that maybe in the frum world is like not so ordinary? And B, what are you going to do with that experience, and how are you going to use it in the future for other things that you want to accomplish?
Right. Okay. So start with the first thing. What I obviously knew, but not to like this level of like how much we hold ourselves back, thinking that things are not possible. Also being afraid. So I feel like a lot of times in the frum world, we're scared, we're afraid. So instead of building ourselves as strong, we're hiding, right? So we're like, oh, we can't do that. I'm scared that I'm not going to be strong enough to do this, or, right? And I mean, emotionally or spiritually, right? As opposed to building up yourself. And this is what I feel very strongly about my kids. Like, you can't really protect them from so many things that are going on around in the world. I mean, at least in my world, I'm not in a, like, you know, I don't live in like a little ghetto, you know? So it's like, you know, the best thing to do is to build strength, to teach them about who they want to be, and, you know, what they believe strongly, so that if someone comes and says something else, you have a strong foundation, right? So that's just something that I feel really strongly about, and you know, in being able to show just by being up there. And I knew it just by being on the show, like, my goal was to get eared. Why? Because I knew that would be the way to make a global impact. That besides for the Kiddush Hashem for non-Jews, because most of the people there never even met a Jew. I'm their first Orthodox Jew, and I was able to show them, like, look, this is also what an Orthodox Jew could do, and that's, they literally only know about Orthodox Jews from Netflix, and it's not a joke. People that I meet all the time, they've never met an Orthodox Jew besides what they see on Netflix, right? So that's for the world, but really what my mission is within our community for girls, and I've gotten loads and loads of messages from moms, pictures about little girls watching what they're saying, right? Them sharing how, like, they're inspired. Now their little daughter wants to do this. How they're, you know, the message of, like, being strong, right? Or going after your dreams, or doing whatever it is that you want to do, is that it's possible, that you can. Somebody, right? And now, like, somebody did something that was different. So if I want to do whatever it is that is different, it's possible, right? It gives all of a sudden people hope of, like, you know.
Is that something that was ever present in your mind when you were?
Yeah. So what I do, like, my company, Spirit Fit Life, right? That whole, like, the big mission is, right, I want to be able to, like, I am, right, changing the narrative of a Jewish woman, right? Like, we are strong, right? That is our history, but sometimes we forget about it, and we become martyrs, and we don't stand up for ourselves from ourselves. Right? We think we're better if we're, like, falling apart, right? Like, it's like Pesach coming, and if I'm not losing it, then I must be doing something wrong, right? That whole idea, and also putting ourselves last. And so by, like, the word strong and using those things with our daughters, and like as that as the beautiful and your own inner strength, right? Helping women find their own inner strength and living in that truth is something that is like huge passion of mine. It's something that I do every day, and I see the ripple effect on generations, right? On their kids. So this was just another way of being able to do it on a bigger level, so that like it could do it where not just the people I touch every day can actually see it also. And, and there could be that first person, right, to be up there, so that now everybody else could do whatever it is that they want to do first or second or third,
This is what I love about Frum women and Jewish women in general in our community. It's never selfish. It's never about me. I wanted to prove to the world that I can do it. No, I wanted to prove to the world that we could do it. And
right.
that anyone
100%.
like me, who looks like me and lives like me, could do it, or has similar challenges or different challenges. Is it more like Chanale? Is more like Devorah? All of
Right.
these women are, and it's very interesting because each of us excel in different areas. I'm not a scholar like you are, Devorah. I'm certainly not an athlete, and I don't think either of you are musicians. But all three of us, people might assume, well, there's some people musically talented.
Right.
There's some people who are academic. There's some people who are athletes, and it's like, are you kidding? We were all born babies, and then we put in the work.
Right. It's also like people think, oh yeah, because you're athletic. I am athletic and I am strong. It is a gift, but I'm not. I have everything else stacked against me. Meaning, my age. Like, right, you don't start doing something like this at this age. Anyways, at this age, it's already like the younger you are, the easier it is for you, like with your joints and whatever. Right. The fact that I'm so small, like my reach has to be double of most people. I have to fly double. Like there's men that are 6'5", and I'm like, hi. This little teeny tiny lady,
Wow.
right? Like it wasn't like, oh, this was the sport I was born to do. Like, right? It's the sport that let me wear whatever I wanted, right? And it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a challenge, and I knew it would change me mentally, and I knew I could make a difference this way, right? So it's not like, oh yeah, she was born. I only started doing this 5 months before I was on the show last year, right? And I feel so horribly in front of everybody. What?
1 second. Someone just said I belong on my own talk show. I have a podcast. Hello, I have a talk show. And that's why I was so excited to be invited to chat with you two, because I was like, I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll make it work. And look how much fun we're having.
Chanale, you're awesome. You're amazing.
I love it. But one second, I cannot believe what you just said. And it's funny because Beatty Deitch says the same thing. And maybe that's why you guys have kindred sisters in this way, that people just look at it like, oh, well, yeah, of course she gets up early and runs. But the odds are really stacked up against both of you. I mean, Beatty is really struggling. She's achieved some tremendous things, and she still sits night after night and beats herself up and struggles with the goals she hasn't achieved and the challenges she still has, and the fact that maybe she's not as far as she wanted to be. And you're thinking, what? You're Beatty Deitch. You're blah, 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 blah. But like, no, we are the ones who are up late at night with the most imposter syndrome, with the most pressure from ourselves. Like, we're close, but we're not there. We're not pushing ourselves. And are we going to get there? And all the eyes are on us, the role models, people look up to us. When you're a coach and you have a course called Breakthrough, and you're not breaking through, then you're not authentic, and you have to be authentic. So these are some serious shoes that we fill, and they start off very tight, but then you break them in.
I'm just going to say something, because that's a very slippery slope, what you just said. Very, very slippery slope. Okay? The point is to look at what, yes, you're doing. Because if you're going to look at all the things that you haven't yet accomplished, and look at all the breakthroughs that I haven't yet done. I had a girl that just did breakthroughs. She came on, and this is what we do. What do you want? What's your goal? She wanted to get engaged. I was like, great, let's do it. Okay? I also want to get engaged. I also want to get married. And she finished Breakthrough, and a week after she finished Breakthrough, she got engaged. Okay? And she put out a whole testimonial. I did Breakthrough, and I got engaged. The fact that what we do on ourselves, right? The fact that, let's say Liba sets the poll up here or whatever. Her next what's the word I'm looking for? Her next goal is up here. So for her to get up here, it might take 2 months, it might take 6 months, and it might take a year and a half. And it might even take longer. The point is that it's not like, oh, look at all the things that I'm not doing, and let me eat myself off all night long. And then, no, we can't. That's wrong. We can't be there. We have to look at what I did accomplish, what I am doing, the work I am putting in, the sweat I am putting in, the prayer I am putting in, the tears I am putting in, and whatever I haven't yet accomplished, that's because God doesn't want me to touch that yet. And when the time will come, I will touch that. And if I don't, it wasn't meant for me. Nikuda.
100%.
That's it. It's not it's not up to you to finish up the thing. It's for you to put in the work, the effort. That's it.
It's very hard for me to accept that because I don't do that. The conversation that goes on in my head is, you know, I haven't met my goals yet. I'm not pushing hard enough. I'm not networking.
And you're gonna always be disappointed because you're
always disappointed.
Right, you're always be disappointed. It's like result-based action. We don't take action only if we get a certain result, because you know what? When you don't get the result, you're gonna self-sabotage, right? My goal for this year on the show, the only thing I wanted, the only thing I cared about after I failed so bad last year and I cared so much how I did, the one and only goal I had was to make myself proud. That was what I went in there. I said, I need to feel proud. I don't care about anything else. And that doesn't mean how I do, because I can't control that. I could train. I could do the mindset work. But you know what? When it comes down to it, I cannot control how I'm going to end up performing on the course, right? So I give that up to you. God, I give that up to you. I don't care what anyone's going to think about me, say about me.
Okay.
I need to feel proud. And that to me was defined by the fact that I was present within myself and I didn't care about anyone else's reactions. And I felt so much joy because I was proud of myself, and that's the only achievement I needed. But if it was based on if I get to a certain whatever place, I would have been disappointed and ruined, and it would have been a miserable experience. So it's like, I will only do this if I lose weight. What happens if you're happier? What happens if you have more energy? What happens if you feel lighter, right? But the numbers didn't go down. I'm a failure, self-sabotage. Wait, if you stick it out because you see the good and you see everything good that happened and changed, you will stick it out, and then eventually you'll get to that other things that, you know, the scale will go down or whatever it is that you want, right? But you have to let it happen when it's time. So your goals can't be only based on that one achievement.
So for everyone watching who's listening now, right? Tomorrow morning they wake up, their challenges are waiting for them. Their bills, their children, their you know, whatever it might be in at that stage in their life. So you're saying from both of your experiences, you're working with people all the time and helping them, you know, reach their goals and having breakthroughs and succeeding in life, and, you know, and a million other things that I can't even, you know, I couldn't begin to list. You'll know, but you know what they are. And Liba, we know what you've accomplished. So what I'm hearing is stay positive. Constantly tell yourself, I am a winner. I can do this. I have done so many good things until now. I have what it takes. And that if something doesn't work, or if something doesn't flow, or if something is not happening, then you have to have faith, a little bit of emunah, that it's not the time, it's not bashert the second, and it's not your fault.
Well, it's not a fault. It's not a fault. The fact that you're working through the daily grind of your life and you have a goal and you're trying to get to that goal, by the fact that it didn't happen yet, by the fact that you're not an all-time movie star, singer, like the number one in the world, doesn't mean that you haven't accomplished a thick amount in your life. And where you are at this point is crazy. And you have to celebrate your accomplishments. You need to celebrate what you have done, what you do the daily grind, the pushing yourself, the 5 hours trying to learn the notes. That's insane. The taking a nutritionist, the going out and starting so you haven't yet lost that doesn't matter. None of that matters. By the fact that you're on the treadmill, that's it. You're already winning. You're already winning.
Also the talk that can't be all like, well, right? It's like like Devorah said, I mean, you said this before. It's like, don't deny your feelings. You have feelings. Don't say, oh, it's going to be good. It's like, you know, this is so hard, right? It's like, don't pretend that it's easy. Don't pretend you're not sad or any of that stuff. Don't pretend you don't want to give up. You can't push away your real feelings. Give them space. Give them space.
Like
let them be.
It sounds like you have to be very, very honest, real, and just, it sounds very balanced and healthy. Like, like if you do all these things, and if you're, you know, realistic, and if you're positive, and if you're grateful to Hashem, then everything's going to work. But those are things.
If you surround yourself with the right support, if you have good, like, guidance, if you have people around you that are going to help you see things when you can't because you're so hard on yourself, if you're going to have routines that people support you and hold you, right? you can't just say, oh, right, because you're saying it as if like, that sounds great, but it's not realistic. If I'm perfect, then it will work. No, it's not. You can't just, we're not made to just stand on our own and say, I'm going to do it all, right? That's why people join your program. That's why people join my program, because we need support, right? That's why I have support. I always have support. I always have coaches. I have therapists. Why? Because I need that, right? I need that support. That doesn't mean that like, meaning they're helping me be my leader. They're not just holding my hand and blindfolded, right? But it's not unrealistic, but there's the struggles within it. You need to surround yourself with the right environment in order to get there.
I'm just reading what people are writing. The more you do, the more you know you have the power you're doing. Support is so important. You could even one person can make a difference. Okay, so that's actually a very, very good tip from both of you. Being realistic means knowing your shortcomings, knowing you need to when you need to hire help, knowing when certain things are your limits or your threshold. You might tell yourself, if I have to spend the day cleaning in my house, I'm not going to be psyched up to go perform. I need a cleaning lady or whatever you might need in your life. And you might tell yourself, if I'm going to listen to people all day and not take the time to speak to someone and regain some of my therapists need therapists, and people and life coaches need inspiration too. So you also have to fill up your resources so that you're in the position to give, whether it means going for a walk, getting a milkshake, going to a movie, doing something fun, whatever gets you ready to be a giver. So
Exactly.
So it just sounds to me like it takes discipline, and when you wake up in the morning with a goal and you journal, I think that's so crucial also. When you journal and it's here in front of you, then you can really check off the things, because it seems like a lot, but when you write it down and you do them one by one, everything in your life starts to flow because you're doing the right things. And when you do the right things, things just flow. They get easier.
I wanted to give one example. I was talking to this woman, and she was having a very hard time with her husband. And she's like, I just want to connect with him. Like, I just want him to understand me, and I just want to understand him. And it's like it's not working. And everything he's saying to me is making it so much worse, right? And she's in the house all day, and it's Friday, and she's getting ready for Shabbos, and it's like getting really, really intense and not good between them, right? And I told her, I said, you don't have to bite the whole thing off, which means bite-sized pieces, which means right now it's not working with him. Right now it's really, there's so intense. Leave, go to your friend, go get a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever it is, go on a walk, okay? And then come back to the drawing board and realize that you don't have to take the whole thing on right now because you want it to work so badly. You have to realize that what you want from your husband right now, you're not going to get from him, and you're not going to be able to give to him what he wants from you. You need to go to a friend, talk, chill, go to the hotel, breathe, take a drink, whatever, and then come back. Bite-sized pieces. You can't solve all your problems right when you want to solve them because they need to be solved, because we need to figure this out, because I need to become a millionaire, because I need to. It's not going to work.
So you're saying just because I have a trainer and a nutritionist, I'm not going to be thin in a week? Is that what you guys are trying to tell me after this whole hour is up? Because I'm starting to realize that I'm going to have to put the work in. Oh,
call us when you hit a wall, basically.
Should help me. Hashem should help me. Listen, I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's late at night here. Liba, you're a busy mom. Let's just sum things up so people have what to take away from here. First of all, I think what's extremely important for people to know is that nothing comes easy, and that when you see people do incredible things, most of the time it's because they put the work in. Now, the work doesn't mean like slave labor like in Mitzrayim. The work could be a amazing, wonderful journey, full of extremely exciting experiences. And it could also be a lot of mundane, repetitious tasks and, just basic routines that we all have to do, whether it's brushing our teeth, whether it's, eating vegetables every day. There's certain things we just have to do as human beings. Another thing that's really important is to have a support system, to have people that believe in you, that have people that could boost your mood when you're not up for it. People who speak your love language, like if you have people tearing you down, there's only so much we can take. Another thing that we mention is that when we're really in a dark place, and sometimes that just happens, whether it's psychological or physical, sometimes it's chemical in our brain, add a little light. Do a mitzvah, do a chesed, do a kindness. get out of yourself for a minute. Allow a little bit of light into your life, and it'll trigger, it'll have a ripple effect, it'll illuminate enough so that you can add a little more light and a little more light, and then suddenly you're just feeling good. Because when you do good things, good things come back to you. Yeah. Is there anything else that I missed that people could?
No, if we start going, we will not. If we start up again, we'll not stop.
Right. So, right. So let me wrap up with a bracha for both of you. I bless you both with tremendous success. You should continue to be inspirations to all the women and girls that you meet in your lives. You are beautiful role models, and you are putting the work in. And it really, like I always say, a rising tide lifts all ships. And when you work on yourselves and you make your little life better and your little circle better, look, here we are speaking over the course of an hour to who knows how many women who left tonight thinking, oh, I'm going to give this a go tomorrow. And here we are changing the world. Everyone will affect the next person. And this is how it's done. And this is what we're for. So, keep at it. Let's, and let's reconnect.
Awesome.
Sooner
Are you
than
going to save this? Are you going to save this? Because people.
I'll save it. Sure. Why not?
I just want to tell everyone that we're starting another breakthrough series coming up August 1st or July 29th. It depends on everyone.
I want to join. Hit me up on
You have to
WhatsApp.
join. Awesome. It's awesome. It's an amazing course. It's 6 weeks with myself. It's one-on-one, and not one-on-one, me and a bunch of women like you. And then we get one-on-one life coaching with myself. And it's just a very, very powerful, very intense time. And it usually really, really works well when you do something physical with it as well. Like if you're going to detox now, it really works well.
We're looking forward to seeing great things from you. Hatzlacha with everything. Keep rocking. I'm good night. Hello. Good night's rest is extremely important. It's fundamental. Yes. If you don't sleep, you're cranky, and you can't do anything. So everyone go to sleep.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks so much.